as we are always and will always be running behind schedule, we'll just jump straight to the next session. Miguel Moreira, one of the DSPA's vice president, has a very interesting project that we are endorsing to show you.
Thank you, Guilherme. Thank you very much. At the board of DSPA, we try, besides doing interesting events, hopefully, to contribute in different ways to the development of the profession and the practice of data science in the country. So we try to focus on different areas, and this is one area that we've been focusing in the last couple of months, that we have created with the scope of a project that we would like to share with you today. It's about people, like Guilherme said before, and in a way links very well with the two previous presentations, especially this last one, remarkable project by Lenia and Susanna. So I will focus on two focus areas, which is the skills and certification. We believe they come hand in hand, and then very briefly explain you what is the project. When we talk about data science, and this may look a little bit silly, almost 4 hours down the road of a data science event from the Data Science Portuguese Association, but the fact of the matter is that there's not clarity about what is to be a data scientist. And this was described very famously in 2012 by Harvard Business Review as the most sexiest job for the 21st century. Some of you remember that headline. The good news is that almost 7 years after, it's still on very high expectation, very high desirability, very high demand, and very high pay level. But the facts of the matter, and this is not a national problem, if you ask 5 people, even inside the community, like 5 different people of you, what is a data scientist, you would get 5 different definitions. It's not clear. It's like a fruit salad of many fruits, and it's very difficult to have one definition. And we believe, as the SPA, that lack of definition is not helping to promote the profession, both from the demand side and the supply side. For people that want to become data scientists, they want to study, they don't know where to go, where to reach, what to reach. And from people hiring, they also have trouble understanding, defining the job description. The typical questions is this an exclusive for people that have a degree in mathematics and a PhD in machine learning? Is this something that an IT person that is very savvy on working with data can learn and having a very important role on the process of actually doing data science? Is this something for a business analyst, which is very good as a marketing analyst to actually use data science techniques to make his work much better? Or, for example, like was presented before, can a doctor that specializes on using data science techniques to improve the accuracy of the exams that he analyzes, can he become a data scientist? Our take is that we should take a broad view of data scientists, but that requires more structure than exists right now. Obviously, there has been some interesting published regarding what are the skills that make a data science. Even the research that Fernando shared with us had some interesting information. Although there's no consensus, it's not a single model that the industry accepts. There are degrees. Lenia just presented, I think, an excellent and very creative degree that this school and other schools are presenting. But still, and there are certifications from a professional perspective, but still we believe that what is available is not homogeneous. There's not a consensus, and it's a bit confusing for professionals and companies to actually accelerate the use of the data science as a profession. So let's focus a little bit on skills. Why is this a problem? Well, again, Data science professional is a profession to start with, is a formal profession. It is not. I have the answer for that. Is it a skill set or is it just a job? Our point of view at the SPAs is much more a skill set, and this coincides with the perspective that is going on in terms of what are going to be the jobs in the future, because with the economy so volatile, with technology increasing the pace of progression so fast, we all know that throughout our careers we're going to have to learn multiple different skills. So from this report, very recent, the World Economic Forum is saying that skills and not job titles or degrees is going to be the new metric for the labor market. So most likely, I think we should start at the skills. What are the skills that make data science? Doing some research, we found some very interesting models. For example, in this case, the one presented, this is from Udacity. Udacity is a startup on online education from Silicon Valley, and they define like 4 different roles that we can call data science. A data analyst, a machine learning engineer, data engineer, and a full data scientist. And then they cross with skills. And that's interesting. Programming tools, data visualization tools, data intuition, and so forth. So if these roles make sense, the proficiency needed on each of them depending on the role that you're going to be taking, operating as a data scientist. But this is a model. Other people have different opinion. For example, Gartner. They came up with their own model. It's slightly simpler, only 3 roles: an IT skills role, business skills roles, and data science roles. And also they have capabilities and skills that people should learn. And some of them are common. Another research firm actually is using an interesting radar graph to actually map from each of the roles what is the level of proficiency that each skill should have. Meaning that if you are an IT professional on data science, you got to be very good probably on programming. But if you are a business analyst, maybe you just have to use a visualization tool like Power BI or Tableau. So different proficiency of using technology. So the point is there is not a consensus around this. And our view, our take, is that it is important to have a starting point to guide the market. This just as an example, because this is an input for the project. We're just starting the project, but we hope to get an output somehow like this. In this case, just as an example, we mapped 5 different profiles. Data engineer, somebody that comes more from the IT side, somebody that we call it a data visualizer, very skilled on visualization tools, highly communicative, knowing storytelling techniques to actually communicate very well with data. A machine learning engineer, probably more on the hardcore artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so forth. An advanced analytics expert, and then a business translator. This is just an example. It might not be this way, but this is like a starting point that we want to bring to the community, take the community input, you guys, and who else wants to join our project, and trying to create a skill set that corresponds to each of the roles that actually constitute the profession. And by having this, we believe it's a strong and important component to guide people what are the skills they need to learn in order to being able to participate as a data scientist professional. So this is one of the focus areas. The other one is certifications. And certifications, it's a big thing, because the way education is being transformed, obviously speed is the main factor. The fact that we work longer lives, the fact that throughout our lives, our careers, we're going to have to learn different things, and sometimes very different than the degree that we had when we graduated when we were 22 or 23. We're going to have to find a model to actually learn throughout our career. Obviously, the term lifelong learning is a bit of a cliche. Everybody uses it in most cases improperly. But in the case of what we are talking about, I think we need to address it with a mechanism that it's called micro-certification. And micro-certification is something that was a reaction to formalize what they call the bite-sized learning, the small granular learning that you have to learn throughout your career. And it's granular because it's going to be out of fashion. It's going to be outdated very soon. And in a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years, you're going to have to learn new things. This is mostly related with digital skills, but not only. So there is a movement on education. They call it micro-certification. In my perspective, it does not replace the macro certification in degrees, but complements them, especially on particular phases of person's career. Obviously, it's gaining a lot of traction. Obviously, the fact that we now using digital technologies can issue digital badges that can be recognized and can be used. Maybe we'll finally find a use for blockchain technologies. Maybe this is an opportunity to actually use blockchain to guarantee that the micro-certificates are reliable. But anyway, it's important to have a certification method. And because data science is not exclusively, in a broad sense, that is the sense that we promote, it's not an exclusive of engineering, it's not an exclusive of mathematics, it's not an exclusive of medicine or even business. It's across the board many professions. We believe that an organization like us, it's our mission to drive that movement and to suggest a certification method that should be transparent, should be clear, but could accreditate professionals that actually acquire the skills that are necessary to perform the profession. The way we see it, it's a two-dimensional framework that includes learning, taking a master's degree or a postgrad degree on a university, or doing a course on Coursera specifically on a certain skill, but also practicing. Because like in many professions, like a lawyer, a nurse, you need to have a degree, but then you need a period of practice in order to be classified officially as a practitioner. So in this case, we believe that combining the two dimensions can be a much more useful method to actually accreditate professionals to be operating as data scientists. In this case, we believe that on the learning side, obviously we're looking at validation of degrees. Informal learning, it's something that it's gaining a lot of ground. You can learn inside four walls or doing a test, but you can learn by attending to conferences, by reading articles, by investigating on your own, by doing networking with other professionals on different themes. So there's a lot of informal ways to learn that they should be accounted to a method like this. And also eventually tests. And the practice, validate that there is an experience, an application on the real life that actually complements the theoretical knowledge that the candidate has done. And then a certification process to be issue certificates, most likely digital certificates that could be accredited this way. We're thinking on establish something like a framework that can establish different levels from an initiate to intermediate to an advanced. And this also can constitute let's say a push for the candidate to actually progress, because I may start and I don't have experience and I will become an initiate soon, but then I'll have a target. I know what I have to do in order to get the next degree. And that next degree hopefully will be recognized by employers as something of value added. So this is a little bit the second focus area, which is certification. Obviously, we are designing an architecture. Apologize, we need a technical slide in every presentation. But there is technology, very, I would say, easy to use that can support a method like this. So talking about the project very, very quickly, from a scope perspective, if you look at acquiring digital skills as a cycle, you start by select what you want to learn. You do the learning piece in a school, online, whatever. You get the certificate, then you look for a placement, and then you go to work. Where are we focused on this project? We want to focus exclusively on the selection piece by providing a skill set, a guideline of what is the profession, what you need to learn in order to perform the profession. And the second is the certification. And in this case, having a digital certification, a method, and a platform, and this will be the way we see it at this point, the project and the contribution of the Data Science Portuguese Association. What are the objectives? Well, we believe that we're not going to find the final truth, but by bringing to the discussion the community, academics, practitioners, vendors, and professionals, that we can create a framework that will be a reference. Probably will be outdated in 6 months, 1 year, but there will have to be a mechanism to keep it updated. But we want to be let's say, the guideline. We want to provide guidelines for a better development of the profession. So that's one. Micro-certifications, it's our belief that's going to be a very and much more used mechanism to validate knowledge in the future, and we want to add something there also. Obviously promote the profession inside and outside the typical users of it, and obviously trying to create alliances with schools that can fill in the gaps of teaching the skills that we are saying that professionals should learn. So as a clarity also, so like four components of the project, what we call it a manual of the profession or a playbook is the first one. The second will be a platform for digital certification. Then a process for certification and an audit process to make sure that is absolutely transparent. And a scientific board to actually provide credibility and using multiple players from the industry to provide the credibility to actually certify professionals in this field. What the project is not, very important to clarify that, is not a school or an academy. The association does not want to go into teaching, want to ally with schools like this, like others that are our associates and not only, to actually let the schools, the experts supply the learning. We just want to create the guide for the profession and then the certification method. And obviously we're not going to be in the employment business like a recruiter, although probably the database of certificates, if we reach the adoption that we think that we can, will be a very valuable resource that we may offer to the community, because we believe that companies will value this sort of accreditation. Schools also, because they can define better the scope of the courses they need to set up. We believe that for professionals will be a much more clear guideline about what do I need to learn and how much experience do I need to actually obtain this certificate. And obviously for vendors, for other professionals associations, because again, we are the Data Science Professional Association, but we've been talking with the other associations like the Marketing Association or maybe Accounting Association and so forth, because data science is such a universal technique that all professionals from other areas will also need to learn and to certify themselves. So it's a wide scope. We didn't invent this here. We inspired on things that other associations are doing, especially this Certified Analytics Professional Association in the US. It's a very, very interesting model. We have following very closely. Also, some thinking and research. World Economic Forum just released a couple of months ago this document, this research. I highly recommend you to read. It's easy to read. It's like 20, 30 pages. And it's very, very precise on this area. And we are following also some of the recommendations that are there. So this is a little bit our inspiration. Well, next steps. We are at the point of mobilizing the team and finalizing funding the project, because we need to do that. To create a scientific board is something that comes right along, and then go. Last slide. We would like this to be an inclusive project. So we would love to have representatives from different perspectives, different professions, different age groups, different points of view. So if you are any of this, anyone to participate on the project, please contact us, because we're going to need to constitute a comprehensive team that can generate the type of deliverable that we want. So thank you very much.